For the last 300 years, crop circles have appeared all over the world. But even after years of study, we still don't seem to know their true origin. Are crop circles something that occur naturally on Earth because of a changing global climate that is causing the migration of underground water? Or are they communications from the spirit world, as so-called crop watchers believe?
There were two balls of light that came over this one area of the field, and the crop went down in a matter of seconds, just like some energy was pushing it down.
Are crop circles the result of childish pranks, nothing more than verdurous graffiti?
These two men claim they had been the source. They had made the crop circles.
Some crop circles are hoaxed. But what about this subset of circles where scientists have found evidence of radiation exposure and melted meteor particles normally found in outer space? Is the government involved? Have fields of grain become massive target ranges where secret agencies test the latest Star Wars weapons? Only to then try to buy silence from the locals?
I have spoken to farmers who have been approached and paid money to destroy what has appeared in their fields.
Are crop circles real, or is the whole thing a hoax? And with all of the intricate patterns and the evidence of radiation and iron contamination, can crop circles really be hoaxed? Looking for answers, we asked students from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology to take up the challenge of scientifically creating a crop circle to precise specifications.
How's the radiation levels look?
What they discovered is that creating crop circles is a difficult and dangerous endeavor. In the next hour, we will learn what's really going on inside these fascinating structures. In Crop Circles, Mysteries in the Fields. Children have long had nightmares about getting lost in giant stands of crops. Crop fields are part of our mythology. With the power to feed or starve whole civilizations, these endless rows represent either the bounty of a feast or the despair of a famine. For the most part, these notions were limited to the realm of fairy tales and nightmares. But that all changed in the 1700s when the mythical qualities of the fields began to speak back.
The first crop circle documented, as far as we know, comes from English folklore. It's known as the Hertfordshire Mowing Devil, 1678. And this shows a circle spiraled around in oats, and this is cut into a wood carving. There is a script that goes with this, which refers to the devil arriving at a red light from the sky and cutting a circle into the field of oats.
Crop circles were reported sporadically throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, with a curious buildup in crop circle activity and pattern complexity beginning in the last 25 years.
Farmers began to report in the late 70s, 1978, a set forming an overall geometry, 5 circles suddenly clustered, forming an overall geometry of a Celtic cross. It was 1978, and then continuously since then, circle with a ring around it, 2 rings around it. And then in 1990, for the very first time, we had 2 circles connected by a straight line. The phenomenon itself has not looked back as far as its complexity is concerned since that day.
By the late 1980s, hundreds of crop circles had been documented and researched, and each year they were multiplying and developing in structure, as if suggesting some sort of language getting more complex as the years progressed. England was infected with the beauty and mystery of these circles. Journalists, scientists, and the all-around curious flocked to Wiltshire, England to investigate the phenomenon. Even the Queen had the book Circular Evidence included on her recommended reading list. Then, in the summer of 1991, the Today newspaper made an astonishing report.
Everybody was told by the newspaper that these 2 men claimed they had been the source. They had made the crop circles.
Enter Doug Browley and Dave Chorley. These men claimed to have made all the crop circles in England for the prior 15 years, using only a plank of wood and a rope. Under the cover of darkness, without their wives suspecting, Doug and Dave would sneak out and make each of these circles in under 4 hours. For many, Doug and Dave solved the mystery. But for others, Doug and Dave's story not only failed to explain everything, but also started an onslaught of copycat hoaxers.
This was the biggest setback in the serious study of the phenomenon.
Although small, die-hard groups of scientists and worshippers continued the vigil, for the most part, crop circles dropped out of the public eye until this year. For reasons as unclear as the phenomenon itself, there is a sudden blitz of media attention about crop circles. Led by the release of the Mel Gibson blockbuster Signs, no fewer than 2 feature films and 10 documentaries are cultivating audiences. Why now? What has changed about the crop circles that warrants all this attention? What, if anything, has been learned about crop circles? We know that the crop circle's shape can be hoaxed, but what about the anomalous data that scientists are compiling during their surveys? Can this data be duplicated by science? We went to the campus of the prestigious Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where we asked 3 students to look over the crop circle research and design an experiment to reproduce the results in the real world. Dom and Lisa, as well as their classmate Dev, are all members of the MIT Aerospace Engineering School. On this day, the MIT students are joined by Nancy Talbot of the BLT Research Team Incorporated.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
BLT is the only peer-reviewed scientific organization currently conducting crop circle research. Nancy has brought field samples with her that clearly point out the anomalies collected at what BLT considers authentic crop circles.
I figured that there are 3 primary components that you might try to replicate. The first parameter is expulsion cavities.
Okay.
These are holes blown out at the plant's stem nodes. See that hole there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're much smaller, obviously, in wheat or barley.
That's the expulsion.
Theories suggest that damage to the crops may have been caused by exposure to high levels of microwave radiation.
Now, these particles are pure iron, by and large, and they're magnetic.
Nancy showed them evidence of radiation exposure and elevated iron magnetite concentrations that are often distributed over the perimeter of crop circles. It wouldn't be impossible for a hoaxer to do this, but it would be very challenging.
Formation.
During the meeting, the MIT students witnessed firsthand the bizarre conditions of the plants that are found inside crop circles.
Can we pour these open and take a look at it?
Sure.
Assuming these are
Are these?
Yeah.
The findings are so intriguing that Dom, Lisa, and Dev agreed to attempt to duplicate the anomalies scientifically in a field of wheat in southern Ohio. They approached the problem in typical MIT style.
I'm definitely looking at it as an engineering project. We have a set amount of deliverables, and we just have to figure out what process do we do to recreate them.
If you do assume that they were man-made, that someone would go through all this trouble and take all this time and actually do a fairly high level of scientific study in order to create these things, it's pretty incredible that someone would take the time to do this.
Well, generator out there, we can use as big an
We can't
apparatus
do
if
that
we
because we're
want.
gonna have to place it down all the time. Unless we plant ourselves, radiate, press down, move to where we press down, radiate, press down.
It's pretty clear with the evidence that they've given me and the like the samples I've looked at that this isn't just a couple of old guys with a board wandering around in a field. It might be a couple of old guys with a board and a microwave wandering around in a field, sure, but someone put a lot more effort into it than that. This is a great hack.
Little did the MIT students know they were setting themselves up for an adventure that would pit them against the very forces of nature they came to study.
A hot, smelly car versus a Febreze car vent clip. Which comes out on top?
It's just nice. That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, fresh. Like I could wrap myself in it.
Odors are no match for Febreze. Breathe happy.
Bass Pro Shops has great holiday gifting.
What you doing with sickness?
Nation America.
When and where will crop circles form, and how long do they take to produce? After 300 years, there are still no answers to these questions. Only shadowy hints of deeper mysteries yet to be solved. The fortunate humans who have witnessed the formation of crop circles have reported the following. Crop circles usually are formed in the night. It can be raining or clear. Weather doesn't seem to be an indicator. During the formation of some crop circles, strange balls of colored light appear in the vicinity. There is no explanation for these unidentified objects, and they're not always present.
There is.
Over 90% of the world's... There is no explanation. During the formation of some crop circles, strange balls of colored light have appeared in the vicinity.
Oh, wait a second. There's the plasma craft. That's the blow-up image. And that's the real deal. See, electromagnetic energy projects black lines around it. Plasma. I mean, the source of propulsion is incredible, but look in the background. That's something that this guy did not notice. There's two other ones in the background. There's one right here above the tree line. And there's another one down here. There it is. I don't know why these people, when they, and there's a third one right next to the blow up image, right there. Let me take these filters off, they're impeding the view. There's that one. There is the second one. It's clearly floating above the ground. And the third one right there, which is another double. And there's the blow up of the biggest one on the field. Right there. But there is another spherical deal there. I mean, I can point at several anomalies on this image. These people just don't pay attention, my goodness. You're gonna study a picture, my God, study the whole thing meticulously, methodically. No. Be cool, man.
There is no explanation for these unidentified objects.
There it is right there. And the other thing right there, it doesn't glow as much as this one, the field.
And they're not always present.
Oh, it's that one right there, another thing, and that one.
Over 90% of the world's reported crop circles occur in the Milk Hill region of England. Over 390 last year alone.
Milk Hill.
How can this be explained? Some researchers attribute this abundance of circles to the unique soil conditions in the underground water table or aquifer.
The basic theory is that the large volumes of water moving underground in southern England acts as a dynamo, creating an electrostatic field which causes the plants to collapse.
Perhaps this ground electrical charge, which is greater than in other areas, could be functioning